And we continue. Re, Egyptian sun god of Heliopolis, the supreme transcendental deity manifest in the three spheres of sky, earth, and underworld. Re is really the power of the sun disk, which the Egyptian felt could be best indicated by a falcon carrying on its head the sun, encircled by the protective cobra goddess. In some myths, the god Re is seen as an aging monarch of the universe whose hair is of lapis lazuli, whose bones are made of silver, and whose flesh is the most precious metal gold. The pharaohs of Egypt formulated in a way of enhancing their divinity by forging a link with the sun god. They promulgated the concept that each pharaoh was Re's offspring. Pyramids of the layered style, such as the king of Zoser, 2630 to 2611 BC. So, by the Egyptians who started the Babylonian religion are worshipping Re, and Zoser is talking about this type of stuff to his people over in Babylon, and Lil and Enki and Utu and Nanar are being worshipped. Now we go on. So, it separates them. They're not Middle Easterner. They're not Arab. The Arabs on the Arabian Peninsula. The Chinese are in the Yellow River. You got the Indians in the Indus Valley Civilization, and so on. And we continue. Re as creator god could be visualized as emerging out of the primeval water within a primordial lotus flower, which opened up to reveal the newly born sun god. The tears of the sun god fell to earth, and from them sprang the human race. Described in most elevated texts as the cattle of Re, at night the sun god traveled in a boat through the underworld, bringing life and light to the god and goddesses there. He was depicted as a ram-headed god whose distinctive epithet is flesh of Re, having journeyed the 12 hours of night through the gates and taverns, past lakes of fire and lethal serpents. The sun god was born again into dawn sky. Notice the reference to the ram head. It's also shown in my video where I take you on a tour through Egypt. We go on. Romulus and Remus, check them out yourself. Sekhmet, I'm going to go through Sekhmet, Serapis, and Anubis Set. And I wish I could read the whole book to you because it's great. But again, buy the book. Also has Joseph Campbell in it, who's I may not agree with him with everything he says, but he's a very profound researcher. Anyway, Sekhmet, Egyptian lion goddess of Memphis, very familiar in her form of a graceful female body with leonine head superimposed. Her name meant the powerful one and admirably suited for ferocious nature. The sun disk which she wore on her head emphasized the fact that her immense power derived from her being the daughter of the sun god Re. There is one particular myth attesting to her bloodthirsty character. The sun god Re was suspicious that men were plotting to overthrow his rule and send his avenging eye down to Egypt. This eye of Re started out as Hathor, but transformed into Sekhmet for the slaughter. Sekhmet sought out and killed men and drank their blood. At night, the sun god wanted to stop the massacre, since if the whole human race was destroyed, there would be no upkeep or offerings in the temples. He and the other gods swamped the land of Egypt with barley, beer, dyed red, and on the following morning, when Sekhmet descended to Egypt to complete the killing that she drank, which she took to be human blood, became intoxicated and forgot her plan to slaughter the remaining men. The Egyptians portrayed her as a goddess able to bring epidemics, but also to ward them off. The title priest of Sekhmet was therefore taken by the magician who was present with the physician at difficult cures. At Memphis, Sekhmet was seen as the consort of the creator god Ptah and the mother of the divine child of Memphis Triad, the lotus god Nefertum. Her correlation with the goddess Mut of Thebes led to vast numbers of granite statues of Sekhmet being dedicated during the reign of Amenhotep III, 1391 to 1353 BC. The Mut sanctuary at Karnak, in these statues the goddess is seated or standing holding the papyrus scepter of Lower Egypt. Go on to Serapis. Serapis, a god in the early Ptolemaic period, early Ptolemaic period, shortly after 300 BCE, from existing Egyptian and Greek deities to symbolize the synthesis of the two cultures that the new Greek rulers of Egypt hoped would occur. The concept of this hybrid god was entirely evolved at the court of Alexandria, and there is no basis at all for the suggestion by the Roman historian Tacitus that the new deity had origins in Asia Minor. The Serapeum at Alexandria was regarded as one of the wonders of the ancient world and drew pilgrims from far and wide in search of miraculous cures from Serapis in his aspect of healer. I'll show you this picture of Serapis. This is what I showed you before. It's the original. It's kind of like a Socrates mixed with Jesus. Socrates evolving into Jesus in a way. The secret societies evolve in their image of Jesus, a righteous man who embodies the characteristics of God at the same time. And we go on. The name Serapis was formed from the description of the sacred bull of Memphis after its death as Osiris Apis or Osorapis. The attraction of the bull cult of Egypt's political capital before the conquest of Alexander the Great in 33 BCE lay in the underlying concept of resurrection after death, combined with the vigor and fertility of the bull. From the Hellenistic world, Serapis drew upon a number of deities. The Greek king of the gods Zeus gave the idea of sovereignty. Helios provided the nature of sun god. Dionysus represented fecundity. Asclepius endowed the new deity with powers of medical healing, and Hades connected Serapis with a notion of the Greek underworld. The iconography of Serapis is totally Hellenistic, representing the god as a bearded man with the symbol of agricultural prosperity on his head. Serapis became the consort of the goddess Isis in the Mediterranean world, as in the precinct of the foreign gods on the island of Delos. I'm going to get into Sargon, and then I'm going to talk